I'm here in Lansing, over here in the state capital. I'm in the section of town known as Old Town on the northeast side, and it's a collection of neighborhoods that gathered around the old R.E. Olds plant that used to be active here. And you come down this way and you wouldn't notice it unless you looked hard enough, but there's actually an old rail line that goes through here that used to service the plant, which is right here. And this here is the old tower, and this was actually moved from out by where it crossed Michigan Avenue, south of here, so quite a ways. This is actually over here the old Lakeshore and Michigan Southern line through town, and it came up from the Indiana border and all the way up here Lansing before it connected with the Marquette line just a few blocks north of here. And the tracks are actually still in place. It's just kind of overgrown, and you can't really see it because it hasn't been used in a while. There's actually a pile of snow and dirt down there where the tracks go. It keeps going through town there. It's not connected anymore to where it crosses the Grand Trunk anymore, because the line has been removed a ways further south from here. Basically where it went by the river has been removed, because that is now the spot for the Lansing Center, which is the event venue in downtown. But the line, the north part, has been preserved in the very least sense of the word. I mean, the tracks are still here, and it used to go right between those buildings up here. And I'm going to go up there and get you a closer look. So looking further down now, here's the line as it goes through here. You can see the rails going through and across Grand River, and main thoroughfare here through Old Town. And this building here is actually known as North Lansing Station. Some people still refer to it as that. It's not the actual station per se. It's actually the stop where, I guess, the trolleys would come and the passengers would get off and transfer to the train from here. The actual Union Station for the LS and MS line would have been further south, closer to the river, about where the Lansing Center is now. Anyway, you can see up here, got the old crossbuck sign, and the newer one below it here, it's just the yellow post there, and we got one over here, and the tower, of course, is right down here. Again, like I said, they moved it since then. And the tracks keep going on up to the point where it meets the CSX line, and we're going to drive down there and see if we could get more on that. So it's kind of rough. You can see the vehicles going across here, just how bad it is. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of the cold here, and we'll see a little bit more of this in a little bit here. I'm going to go with Cravings and pick up Waterman popcorn. Okay. Okay, now we're on Beaver Street, just a little further north of there. And as you can see, it's way down there, a couple blocks. And looking north, there's the crossing with the with one of the other roads, one of the main roads. I think that's 43 again, or Saginaw Street. And just beyond that is the junction point with the CSX. As you can see, the crossing is kind of rough here. And there are plans in place with the jail, Jackson and Lansing Railroad, part of the Adrian Blissfield, to run trains through here again to service the scrap metal place, which is down there close to where that dirt and snow pile was that you saw just a little bit earlier. Yeah, but that would have to be removed. There's also plans in the works to service Lansing Ice and Fuel. So it could be used again. It was last used by Conrail going down this far, but it is used in a portion just a ways from here. Okay, we've made it out to the connection point where the old Lakeshore Michigan Southern meets up with the CSX's former Marquette, Maine here. right across from the old asphalt plant here in North Lansing. And you can see the old signal tower here, and this is the junction point. And the surprise is we got the old Erie Lackawanna unit and the coach from the Michigan Star Clipper dinner train that used to run down by Detroit and Walled Lake area. This old F unit here, I guess, is just being stored for the moment until it gets taken out to its new owner, or I'm not even sure if it's still for sale yet. It's number 725 in the old EL paint that I used to have, and the coach behind it is a I guess is a former CN car from a Canadian car and foundry, just like the ones at SRI. And behind it here is the local job, CSX job, doing its work around the plants here in Lansing. And he's kind of moving forward, and I wonder if we're going to see it here. So, just thought I'd duck in and show you this, where they're doing some action here, and show you a little surprise. Okay then. Okay, so now I'm on the west side of Lansing, and here we have yet another rail line. This is the old Lansing Manufacturers Railway, which goes down the west side of town and connects all the industries on this side. Kind of like the old LSMS line does, kind of through the middle and northern parts of town. And when it used to go out and connect with the Grand Trunk, that basically made a circle line with this line, and you can basically go in full, like I said, full circle around Lansing just by rail. Of course, you can't do that anymore. This line actually gets down closer to the Grand Trunk line, but I guess it comes to an end also. I don't think it has an actual junction there either. It also goes up to CSX. But this one, I think, is just served by CSX. The Adrian Blissfield, I don't think runs on this line, unless it's just the trackage rights that I can think of. If someone out there would like to comment and tell me where I'm wrong on that one and see where this goes, I'm going to keep following it and see what I can get. The CSX local has not been through, so I'm just gonna keep looking for other stuff. So more stuff to see in Lansing. We are now on the riverfront, downtown Lansing, here at on the Grand River, and behind this bridge here, you see a steel span, which is now the river trail that goes over the Grand River. And that used to be the railroad bridge. They used to service the industries down here in downtown, and that line there is part of the LSMS line, a little spur that comes off the line, which used to run right past here, the main line that you saw earlier. And that spur used to come over here and service the BWL, Board of Water and Light plant, down in this area just across the river. And that has since been taken out, as well as some of the industries that it used to serve on that side of the river. Meanwhile, this is the Lansing City Market now, and right next to it is the Lansing Center, just right here on Michigan Avenue, just a couple blocks down from the state capitol, which is actually behind this building, which is the repurposed Board of Water and Light generating station down here by the river. That was one of the buildings that, like I said, was served by the spur line, and a lot of it has been torn down, but this is the main structure here that survives, and that would be where that spur line ends. Lansing Center sits about where the embankment used to be for the LSMS, and just like it, there's still a tunnel down there that you go through to the parking garage underneath. And the rail line would have been through here, and just behind the market would be where the LSMS Union Depot would have been. And behind here, of course, is the former Oldsmobile Park. Now it's Lansing Stadium. Excuse me. It's another part. I forget what they named it, but that's where the Lansing Lugnuts play. And yeah, it's a nice seasonal venue. And beyond that is the CSX's former Père Marquette main, which you saw earlier on the north side of town, and that goes right past it by Clara's depot, which is the Union Station for the Père Marquette and New York Central lines here in Lansing. Of course, like I said, now it's Clara's restaurant. So lots of things to see downtown. So I thought I'd take this moment, since I'm in the area, to come on to the campus of Michigan State University. And I'm actually right next to the practice football field here, across from Spartan Stadium, which you can see through the trees over there. And pretty much in the middle of campus here. And you're thinking to yourself, what's significant about this area to rail fans, other than maybe the GT and CSX mains nearby, next to the Spartan power plant down there. Well, this area is actually pretty significant, and you might not recognize it unless you're from like the 1970s, early 80s, but this spot here, right by these trees, is where the Père Marquette 1225 used to sit on display. It was reeled out of here in about 1982, I believe. It was facing northbound, and it was actually sat on siding here to the spur line that used to run up to the power plant, and that's the Shaw Lane power plant there, that was active until 1975. It was actually being helped by the T.B. Simon power plant, which is down there, which is built in the 60s, and they both ran for a while, but they eventually shut this one down. And just a few years ago they tore down the Michigan State College, or MSC, smokestack that used to be one of the landmarks for that building. Now it's hard to get around campus. But anyway, the 1225 used to sit right here next to these trees, and the tracks have long since been removed, and this whole area has been re-landscaped. I'm not even sure if this parking lot was here before, or at least this size of the parking lot. So yeah, a lot has changed. What they basically did is they took the display pieces of the display track that was on, they laid them back down all the way past the road there, all the way down to where the spur line used to be for the power plant, and just pulled it out with the cables. They had to use a generator to, of course, get the brake lines to release. So, and they only had about a day to do it. So, and about that time they got it out of here. Well, I believe it's a day to get off this part of the campus. So, that's quite a large feat for a bunch of students and rail fans to do. Okay, we're gonna go see some more. Okay, still on the MSU campus. This time we're further south, and this is the T.B. Simon power plant, and it was built about 1965 to help take some of the load off the Shaw power plant, which you saw to the north. And these are the condensers that they also run off steam, mostly for air conditioning purposes and water cooling. And the thing about this power plant is that it is serviced by its own little railroad here on campus. And a nice little treat today is MSU's own SW14 locomotive is out here. It's running away. Not sure if they're dumping right now. The engine's on, and it's pretty rare to see it right now because usually they just put it in the house here when it's not running. The plant also has a GE 45-ton switcher. They got the SW14 when the load started getting a little bit more than it could handle. It's a former Illinois Central unit here, and painted, of course, in the Spartan colors, green and white. Go green, go white. And as you can see, the markings are for the physical plant division, which is the name of the service that takes care of all the demands of the university here on campus, such as the power plant and the cleaning services and cooking, all that sort of thing. Utilities, everything is done by the physical plant here at Michigan State. So this is basically where they have all the coal at. It's covered by this hoop house here. And until recently, the workload has been lowered so that they can use natural gas, which I'm not a big fan of, because then they just pipeline it in. So the little railroad here has been kind of not very busy until this time, now that it's winter and they need some more energy. And there's a small yard back here with all the hoppers off the CSX main that services this plant, which is what this unit is mainly used for. Anyway, yeah, the power plant here is actually cogeneration, as well as providing power by electricity. It also provides steam heat to all the buildings on campus via steam pipeways underground. And besides coal or natural gas, it also runs on biomass, which is basically leaves and branches, maybe wood chips, that can also be burned to help offset the carbon footprint of coal or natural gas. I myself would prefer if they made their own coal, that way they'd have a higher BTU of energy, which is what the University of Minnesota is trying to do right now, but they're actually trying to restore a Santa Fe steam locomotive for that purpose. Don't ask me how that's got to work, because that's an oil burning locomotive that they're trying to use, but I'm sure they'll find a way using lots of funds from many different donors. A little close-up view of this locomotive now, so you can hear the EMD prime mover in it. Very nice looking locomotive. Surprised there's no one here right now. Thought they'd be moving it, but I don't know, they must be having trouble in the dumper house. Come by later and see if we can see it moving. I'm going to head out to the main and see if there's anything there.